What's up, Nation? Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. My name is Law Nation, LAW Nation. I know that there's a lot of things that's going on in this country, a lot of things that's going on in this world. Nevertheless, I got to give you guys my thoughts, my opinion of Dak Prescott giving $1 million to the police force to help out, I guess sensitivity training, to give back to the police force to have a better, a better training in general, basically. And I think that is a good thing because a lot of times we can look at it in multiple ways. I know a lot of people are saying, why is Dak Prescott giving the money to the enemy? No, the police force is not the enemy. Yes, there's been some crazy things that happen in this country. And the craziest thing of it all, nobody wants the police until they need them, right? Nobody wants the police to be around until something happens. We need the police force to set things in order. Nevertheless, we need the police force to understand not to racial profile people, not to have a preconceived notion of a person or, a place or an environment where a person live in these sorts. Nevertheless, I have to say this. I want everybody to understand that we are all together, regardless of how you look at it. Just like this channel, Cowboys Nation, we all together. We have each other back. We may disagree with a lot of topics. We may look at it and say, man, this person is fake or this person is phony. But baby, we are here because we love the Cowboys, basically, collectively speaking. And I think that Dak Prescott did a wonderful thing. Go to his IG page and you will see how he broke down everything of the reason why he made the donation for that particular cause. I remember a famous quote. It says, ask not what your country, what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Let me repeat, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I think that there's a lot of things that goes on, whereas people don't even know who their neighbor is. Social media created social distancing amongst each other by people not knowing who their neighbors are, people not knowing how to be respectful of people's time and all of those things. I think that the good old way will be when you check the mailbox and you see your neighbor outside, say, hey, what's up, man? Hey, my name is such and such. What's your name? What do you do? And I think that if we can establish that relationship, a whole lot of things can happen as it relates to where you at, what you do. And I think that when people know each other, they can understand each other. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if I'm wrong. Nevertheless, I think that we are heading in the right direction as it relates to this Dallas Cowboys team. We are heading in the right direction as it relates to this Cowboys team. I think that the unification will happen, will occur. When you think about the total picture, Dak Prescott, he will get his contract signed. I think that he will eventually sign his contract. Remember, people had the same recourse when it relates to the D-Law's contract as it relates to the Ezekiel, the main man, Elliott's contract. We know that. We know that the Jerry Wayne Jones loved to hold feet to the fire. We know it. I mean, I can't lie to kick it. You know good and well, Jerry, he's a salesman. He's the art of the salesman, And I just think that when we talk about the face of the franchise, Jerry always liked to squeeze things. And I made this analogy before, is, of course, when you value something, you covet it just a little bit more. You do. And when you have a car, a new car, you don't park it outside and allow people to put their fingerprints on it, right? You don't allow people to make observations of it, especially when you have a garage. You kind of pretty much protect it and you pull it in the garage. Dak Prescott, he's been left outside in the rain far too long. But this is still a ploy to me because Jerry loved to sell things. He does. I mean, come on. My dog over here said, look, don't allow nobody to lean on his ride. And the ladies can contest to this. when you are in a relationship with someone 4 to maybe 5 years, and you guys think that everything's been going smooth, you've been doing your job, you've been there on time for them, you've been doing a lot of things as it relates to, other things, you know what I mean? And on the 4th year or the 5th year, he takes you out to this extravagant restaurant. You guys having a great time, and he gets down on one knee to tie his shoe, and you thinking it's something else. And he reach up and he look in your eyes and say, "Baby, here's this ring, a promissory ring or a promise ring." You will probably look at him and be like, "Nah, that is not what I want." Or you might look at it and say, "Okay, this is how he value me." Maybe in high school, a promise ring will work. Maybe freshman year in college, maybe, a promise ring will work. But you look at it like, I've been with you through all of this, and this is all you giving me is a promise ring? That is what the franchise tag to me is. It's nothing more than a promise ring. It's like you having your reservation. I think that Dak Prescott will not play on the franchise tag. That's just me. That's like him accepting the promise ring. Let me know if I'm wrong. 9 times out of 10, they want something to be long term. Ain't that right, KMT? Yeah, no lady out there would like to say, "Hey, I want the promise ring." Now, in Jerry Wayne Jones's case, he looking at this thing like, I hope that Dak Prescott will accept the promise ring because I would like to see him under Mike McCarthy before I make this real long-term commitment as it relates to paying him the highs of the highs, I want to see, can he accept this situation for a promise ring for one more year? But no, what Dak Prescott did is he played on that last year, and he proved that, hey, I gambled already. I could have did the same thing with the same thought track of what Ezekiel Elliott did and say, I would not play until I get a contract. But he gambled already. So to me personally, just to me, if I'm Dak Prescott, there's no way in life I'm going to play off of a $33 to $35 million contract. No way. Because what will happen here is that that the promise ring is only temporary. It's not nothing that'll attach. It's not a long-term engagement process. It's just, okay, fake love and adulation situation or beginning stages of the love. What I'm saying is that week 4, week 5 of the season, if he's playing on that franchise tag and then all of a sudden something happened to him, there's nothing more guaranteed than the 34, 35. Now, you can risk it all and say, okay, I'm going to play out this entire year. So next year you will have to pay up. But at least when Kirk Cousins did his situation, at least the owner said, hey, we don't have you valued, or we don't see you as the franchise quarterback. At least they was bold enough to say that. And Kirk Cousins was like, okay, I'm going to bet on myself again. I'm going to prove to you guys that I am who I say I am. I am the franchise guy. At least they came out. So if they toe in the line with Dak Prescott or got the carrot in front of him and saying, okay, here you go, Dak, and don't go all the way in on it, I wouldn't do it. Because if Dak Prescott, if they looking at the contract and they saying that it's $35 to $36 million on the table with $110 to $106 million guaranteed, to me personally, that is a better situation than trying to risk it all and gambling and betting on yourself with the franchise tag for 1 year for 33 or 34, whatever the number is, and something happened to you. Boy. Yeah. Shout out to you, saying the man 213. So you guys, I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying. Collectively speaking, I know a lot of people look at it like, oh man, it's just another Dak Prescott talk. But I got to give you guys that, man. I got to give you guys that information of how I feel about, for one, him making the donation to not the military, but the actual police force. For 2, how this would help the sensitivity training. Maybe it's 6 Sigma. Who knows? Whatever training that they can implement in the area. And it could be contagious. Because we can see some police reform, going back to that topic, we can see some police reform throughout the world, meaning that, well, throughout the United States, maybe the quarterback for the Washington team give up his donations to the police force. Maybe the quarterback down there in Florida give up some money to make the force better down there so that people can identify and understand where their warts are at within the confines of their department. That's all I'm saying. Cowboy Nation. Let me know how you guys feel about everything. Shout out to everybody, man. Thank those who make the donations to help grow the nation. That gives $1 million out for a total of 10. Okay. Sandy Man for giving up way too. Shout out to you, Sandy Man. Repeat that again. How about Dak invests his money like in Braun improving school systems like Braun? Don't give more power and money to these cops who treat people of color with discriminations and abuse. This is from Nathaniel Hall. Like I said, I respect everybody's opinions. I think that Dak Prescott, and this is good open discussions for debate. I think that it's not just giving money. This is the way I got to look at it, and this is where I hope you guys look at it. Do not look at the police force as the enemy. Do not look at the police force as the savior of everything as well. Do not look at the police force as, man, I'm a brother and this guy is only coming out to hunt me. Or do not look at the police force, I'm a brother and this is police will save me. There's good people and there's bad people. In any organization, in any infrastructure, that's just the reality of it. There are people that make foolish decisions and there's people that make great and good decisions. Look, when we think about it, collectively speaking, we would never know. But hopefully through the midst of training, you can weed out the bad guys. You can go over the course of action and say, okay, in a situation, we uncovered that this is how you're supposed to handle this particular situation. Not being overreactive. Because like I said last night when we was live on the Late Night Hype Show, I was saying that there's a system and a process goes out when you can go to the Serengeti in Africa and find a rhino or a wild lion, tiger, or whatever it is that's out there and capture them without killing them. And you are able to bring them back to the United States and put them in zoos, whatever, you know. I think that in this system that we're living in, there should be a process, a philosophy of capturing the criminals, you know, that does or do something wrong without killing them. Maybe we need to have some type of gun reform. Maybe we need to have some type of technical situation where we can view people and say, okay, this is how we're going to handle this situation. There's ways where you can start maybe implementing an incentive-based program where you hire more minorities to cover a certain region. Because people like to identify with certain things that they can relate to. And when you're not able to relate to a certain situation, your defenses are up. And that could be the case in a scenario. Nevertheless, training can help that out. Being able to understand what you're doing and when you're doing and why you're doing it can help you out. For example, a lot of people don't know football. So if you could train and educate them and say, okay, this is what a 4-3 defense is. So they won't be running out there saying, oh, this is a 3-4 defense. Or vice versa. This is what a 3-4 defense is. And this is where you're supposed to be at in this particular marking. And that all goes through training. That all goes through educating and understanding why you are here and why you are there in this particular assignment. So that is why I think that through training and through educating, you can help out a lot of things. But will the school system help out and improve what LeBron James is doing? Yes. School system, I think education is always a plus. Education is always a must. I think that here's the thing with education. It's free. Education is free. Nevertheless, you have to know what you're getting educated on. For example, and I always say this because a lot of times people look at, man, I got this education, I got this knowledge from this university, I'm smarter. No, 2 plus 2 will always be 4. Whether or not you learned it over here, or whether or not you learned it over in China, whether or not you learned it on the moon, 2 plus 2 will always be 4. But what people like to do with education and knowledge is say, hey, from my institution and from my university, they know more because I learned 4 from my institution. No, knowledge is knowledge. And I think that what LeBron James is doing and what other people are doing is to give everybody that knowledge. The ability to learn is valuable. I hope it didn't go over your head, Cowboy Nation. Let me read some more of your comments before I rock out of here. Police training is like over 3 years here in Finland. So yeah, I like that. This is from AF, man. Really appreciate you, man. Yeah, police training is over 3 years. Look, a doctor go through a lot to become a doctor. I would hate for a doctor to only go through like a 6-month training or a 10-month training or a year training and then expect to do some operation on you. Saying, hey, I got my certificate. I'm a doctor now. Now lay on your back. Oh, I'm sorry, lay on your side. Oh, I'm sorry, lay on your belly, you know? And let me grab those knives over there and cut you open. You wouldn't want to go to that doctor. And I think that the way you got to do assessment, behavioral assessments and all of that stuff, let me tell you something. CIA training and FBI training is not like police training, right? It's a higher level of training. So I think that this police reform will work. That's just my opinion. Will everything be all fair because of $1 million? No. This thing will not change overnight. We got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. As a professional in the workforce, you should always maintain a constant training. This is saying the man, you're right. You're right, saying the man, you're right. You always gotta really work on the training. PL, what's good with you, man? Appreciate you, man. How does training fix putting your knees on your neck? I'm sorry, I don't know. I could kill you. This is from Aaron. Sensitivity training will place this right here. Being able to say, okay, I got my knee on your neck. The other officer then can have sensitivity training. Hey, remember this particular case happened in such and such year? Move your knee off of his neck. You already got the brother contained. Let's pick him up. Maybe it could be a time parameter. No longer have a suspect or a victim or whatever it may be on the ground for more than 2 minutes or for more than 3 minutes or for more than 5 minutes or what have you. That's a lot of things. That's what training can do. Or just for example, they got situations whereas if you ever go to a club or if you ever go to a certain places where you got to get patted down or check to see whether or not you have a weapon on you or TSA, 9 times out of 10, they have multiple sex to do the pat down, meaning that they have a woman over here to pat down the ladies and the guys to pat down the guys so that they can go over the proper way of having somebody not to touch them in the wrong places. That's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you have to have things put into place to identify with the actual issue. Case in point. Let me see what else we got over here, man. I really appreciate you guys, man. Yes, training, assessments, the solution can make it all a difference. Yes, this is from Jack. And this is just objectively speaking too. You know, there's no right or wrong reason of what you feel like because I can't make people feel the way they feel. That's just how it goes. Now they need to never place a knee on the back of a person. This is from Edward. Yeah, I mean, case in point, you can kill somebody with the knee to the neck. And trust me, there were probably thousands of people didn't know that you can die from that. Believe it or not, you know. But the understanding is you have to be observant. Just like, let me tell you something. And I'm going to say this before I go. I'm going to try to go 22 minutes. I'm going to say this. Training and educating and informing goes a long way. Meaning that where was I? It was a couple of years ago. I was visiting the in-laws or what have you. And they stayed in this apartment complex. And there was a couple of drivers that would go driving by super fast in that area. And to make a long story short, one of the drivers was driving by there so fast that he wasn't aware that kids were at play. Unfortunately, one of the kids lost their ball and they ran out to capture their ball. And everybody knows that in a certain apartment complexes or certain living situations, kids play. Kids gonna do kids thing. They're not aware of their surroundings. One can argue and say, well, why is not an adult out there? But kids still gonna be kids. Nevertheless, this guy come balling through that apartment complex and he hits this kid and ultimately the kid passed away. It died. She died. One can say, damn, that's messed up. He shouldn't have been going 45 miles per hour in a parking complex. He shouldn't have been going 25. He shouldn't have been going 15 miles per hour. Or the apartment complex should have been knowledgeable enough to understand that these people are flying through here. So the apartment complex, unfortunately, was not proactive. They was retroactive. They had to go back in. They had to apologize to the kid's family, what have you. But that kid, you know, and other kids in that area don't play in that spot no more because of the people stupid enough to drive fast through there. So what did they do to put into place? They start putting warning signs. Slow down, kids are at play. Then they went and made some more money and some investments, putting speed bumps throughout their entire apartment complex. Another apartment complex caught wind of what they did and what happened. It was a horrible situation in that area. I mean, people came to fisticuff over the guy for driving that fast through there. The other apartment complex across the street adapted that same philosophy of sitting there saying, okay, we don't want that to happen in our area. Due to what happened over there, we are now implementing speed bumps. Why do they implement speed bumps? Oh, why do they do that? Because at the end of the day, people still speed. Regardless of the kid that passed away 3 months ago, 4 months ago, people were still speeding through there. And that's what they did. They implemented, they learned, and they had videos that they put out there. And the news, the media caught like wildfire. Slow down when you're pulling into apartment complexes. Kids are at play. They have signs even before you go into the actual infrastructure. Please slow down. Kids are at play. But people sometimes don't read the signs and they still fly through there. So that's why they had to implement the speed bumps. Maybe, just maybe, the $1 million can be like a speed bump. Maybe the training and the information can say, hey, watch what you say to a certain person. We just saw what Drew Brees put out there. So there's multiple things, Cowboy Nation. That's all the time that I have. I really appreciate you all. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this content, let a friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboy Sports Talk and Beyond. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go. I'm out. Peace.